Was this the craziest trade deadline that you've seen since you've been an agent?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the busiest ones I've been a part of. And obviously, you know, I had B.I. go to Toronto, De'Aaron go to San Antonio, Zach go to SAC, you know. And obviously the biggest one was AD going to the Mavs. Yeah, you know, look, I think for me, what I've started to realize is free agency is the new trade deadline, right? Because as you see teams in the summer have this money, they're not spending it, they're trading in players into their space, which is drying up the market. So now you have to start to reposition guys from a value perspective. Once they traded, their bird rights go with them. So because of the second apron is now starting to allow a different flexibility within the confinement of all the rules and restrictions. And so that's how I looked at it. You know, in De'Aaron's case, he had spent 8 years in SAC. It's pretty good, but it was time for a change. And I personally wanted to place him next to Wemby to grow, right? And he thought that made a lot of sense too. It's his choice, but that's where he wanted to be. And I was blessed enough and able enough to make that happen, right? In B.I.'s case, he had a couple different situations he could have went in. And, you know, Toronto was more aggressive, and we was able to get his extension done right then and there, so he don't have to worry about the summer, right? In Zach's case, it's a freshness for him, but, you know, the Bulls are going in a different direction. And so it's a partnerial thing in most cases. 99.9% of the time, I'm gonna know what's going on. The one time I didn't was the one time we all didn't, per se, know what was going on. It was a shock to everybody. Who was in it was a shock, right? I always knew the affinity that was had for AD from Nico's perspective, so the destination wasn't really a shock. The timing of it was a shock, and obviously who was involved was a shock. But you don't move mountains with everybody knowing. You can't. And so I'm glad I didn't know. And I'm glad that whoever else didn't know, because it probably wouldn't have happened if you did know. Because now you start to open up the opinions and the conversations and different cans of worms. And so you can't get those things done with people knowing. And you know, everybody gonna have their issues about it. That's not my place. Only thing I can do is, whatever happens, guy get there, okay, well, how do we make this situation the best we can make it, is how I look at it.
So you talk about the AD Luka trade going down. When Shams first breaks that news, everybody, me personally, you know, I'm heavy on NBA Twitter. I'm like, oh, he got hacked. Like, there's
well,
no way.
I knew before that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying you knew a little bit before that. But when you heard it, I'm just gonna go back to you. When you heard it, you said it's a shock. So what's it like for you? Like, huh? Like, are you?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you know, obviously anybody can be traded. There's only anybody can be traded. We see that, right?
We feel like there's only like 2 guys in the league now that
can't be based upon
unless I want to go
contractual. Yeah, but even still, even if you have that, again, and somebody is saying they want to trade you, even if you have that restriction, you still don't feel wanted at that point, because you know they want to trade you. So it don't matter. You may not want to. It may protect you from going somewhere you don't want to go, but in this case, you know, you still gonna be traded, or you still feel unwanted. But yeah, it's you know, look, it's business at the end of the day, and that's the contracts travel. So it ain't like you get traded and your contracts start all over again. Your salary travel too, so that's part of it.
Speaking of contracts, right? We was talking about this the other day. If you have that in your contract,
yeah,
that clause,
yeah,
and you apply it, you waive it.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that it should extend?
Oh, it should carry over with you?
Yeah, to the next team.
Once you waive it, just take Bradley Beal's situation. I don't want to speak on Take Bradley Beal's situation. He waived it to get out of Washington to go to Phoenix. It doesn't say trades, plural.
Right, yeah.
Right? Once you waive it, we in agreement, me and Rashad talk, like, you should, that should be it. Like, you shouldn't get, like, he was saying, like, you don't get multiple mulligans. Like, you get one.
Well, If I negotiate it, it should stay as long as you.
until the wheels fall off. But I'm saying, you get my point?
Yeah, but yeah, I understand.
Because there's a clause in the contract that you put in there for specific reasons.
Listen, I understand exactly what you're saying. But what I was saying was, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. What I'm saying is, regardless what's there, once it's known that you're not wanted, it don't matter what's in your contract. You're going to feel a certain way. Now it's just about getting somewhere where I want to go. And there's two sides to every trade. Yeah. You gotta be unwanted here, but wanted elsewhere. If you're unwanted here and unwanted everywhere else, then it don't matter anyway. And so
one man's trash is another man's trash.
In most cases. But in some cases, one man's trash is everybody's trash.
Trash is trash, right?
So again, it's just one of those situations where I think we all have to understand the business of basketball, which we don't, and everybody does not. The fan aspect of it is what it is what makes our game go. But like I said, the contracts travel. If you can get to a place where you want it, you make the best of that, and you produce to re-up again.
We talked about one of those guys. Let's talk about the other one of those guys. We talk about from the Lakers side now, getting Luka Doncic, revitalizing the squad. We're super happy to see that deal made. Obviously, we're a pro Lakers show. We're not traditional.
Well, hey, listen, I'm glad you didn't know about the trade, brother.
That's why you're here.
I'm glad you didn't know, goddammit.
Nah, but the thing about it, again, like the league is the league, right? I think some things are gonna be bound to happen no matter what for whomever. And when people make trades, some making them for now, some making them for later, right? And so it all depends on the perspective of who's making those decisions. On my end, that's not my role. It's not my job. I can't decide when a team should feel like they want to be committed to a certain, level of winning, right? And then, there's entertainment in our sport. You have a lot of layers to the business of basketball from the organization side mainly, right? And so, you have to replenish in a lot of ways. And, the initial shock of it is what it is. No one wants to feel like they're not wanted. Some of it carries, kind of carries on. But I always try to tell my guys, just put it behind you and move. There's only 30 teams, by the way.
But what if in a situation like Dawson Connect and Mark Williams, where that shit don't like
who what?
Mark Williams and Dawson Connect.
Look, I think y'all been a part of trades and been a part of physicals. That's a tough situation because you're going from the biggest of all stages or to the biggest of all stages and then have to go back,
fucking Charlotte.
And again, I value every organization, but I know what you're saying.
Oh, no, that's just my personal opinion. That's not yours, Rich.
The moment of it.
The moment for the clients, right?
That is true because every organization has a salary cap.
For the players.
So
they all got. And I said that's not your opinion. I've been to Charlotte.
But I know what you're saying.
I've been to Charlotte. I'm not wrong.
I've been in that situation before. I was working at camp, and they check us into the hotel, and they got the DVD player, and they was able to go to the spa and the whole nine for that night. The next morning, I get a knock on the door. Next thing I know, I'm in the dorm of the college in the city that we was in. No TV, no nothing. I felt the pain. But again, I didn't suspect that right when it first happened. But you have to go through the physical, and maybe they saw something that they didn't like.
Yeah, but to go back to that situation,
Bron seen Mark was like, man,
nah,
take
man,
your ass back. We don't want
See,
your ass. It came out, his leg was limp.
You can't do any of that, nah.
Thank you, Legend. But let's talk about from the Lakers side, because Luka deal goes down. I think a lot of people in the media are like, oh, the Lakers are on Luka's timeline now. They make that Mark Williams trade. It seems like, no, we're trying to be a winning basketball team. Now, you got LeBron, year 22, still playing at a high level. Obviously, father time undefeated. We know at some point he's going to have to hang him up. But does Lakers making a trade for a guy like Luka, bringing in another superstar, does that now prolong that timeline a little bit more and say, well, damn, maybe I might stick around just a little bit longer than I thought?
I would say, this is uncharted territory for us, right? There's never been somebody this late in their career playing at this level to even to have that be a decision to be made, right? So that's tough. I think if I was in the organization's position, there has to be a balancing act because, from a bias perspective, you want somebody to go all in, but you have to do that with restraint a lot of times because you're trying to do for the now and the later again. Yeah. So it's a tough spot to be in, but I can say to you, mentally, you want to play competitive basketball. Nothing is going to guarantee a championship anyway, no matter what team you're on. We've seen the 04 Lakers go into Detroit and lose, with all the names that they had. And we've seen the things not pan out. But we'll see. I think right now, currently today, there's so much parity around the league, right? I think the Cavaliers really won the trade deadline in terms of where they're at as a team and what they actually needed to put them in the best position to get past that second round type of thing. And then when you look at being able to get a franchise level point guard that San Antonio was able to do, that's big. Hey, being able to, again, soothe the minds of the Steph Curry and Draymond with Jimmy Butler, bringing somebody in there that's experienced and that could do a lot of different things that leads to winning. I think people get it twisted in terms of the Luka trade. Dallas got AD. Yeah. Like, talking about 40, 25, but we go off style points too. So the ball handler, Gil was a ball handler. He's never gonna be looked at the way Kenyon was looked at because Kenyon was a big. There's a lot of different things you can look at in terms of production, but then you gotta equate what else is on the team. So age, all that stuff goes into a factor, but again, it's just so much parity in the league. Anybody could. I wouldn't be surprised who won a championship this year. Anybody could win a championship this year. Now, obviously, we would say Boston is probably the favorites as the ex-champs.
I think Milwaukee got better. Milwaukee got better.
You don't want to play Milwaukee in the first round healthy. That's what I'm saying. Do you want to play? I don't know. The Sixers haven't been doing that great, but if they made the playoffs, do you want to play them in the first round healthy? I don't know. Like, it's just so many different. I'm asking the question. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, when you think about the parity in the league, has there ever been this much parity in the league? From top to bottom.
But I think it's fun, though.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
Gil, who's winning the championship in 2026?
Tell him.
You can tell him.
You're going to wear the whole uniform.
Come on, baby. LA Lakers, man.
I mean, for 27 out of 30 teams win a championship, I'm good.
20.
So there's only 3 teams, okay.
There's only 3 teams I don't have a client on, so I'm
okay. Well, that's good to know.
I'm good. So it don't matter to me. I pray for my guys to play well and stay healthy. Whoever wins, it don't matter.
You got to play on Boston?
No.
See? That's
I have coach, though. I'll celebrate with Sam Cassell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But let's shift it over to college now. We've seen.
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Go ahead.
Why did Sam